Hello, and to another episode of Creation with Akia. Oh my goodness, tonight our guest is no other than Mr. George Highlife himself, Highlife Films. He is really going to be bringing us some game on positivity and abundance and how all of that affects your cash flow, how that impacts your money, how that impacts your entire life. This gentleman has such an interesting story. He's been through so much and at the same time been able to keep his energy up and maintain this positivity. And every time I see him, he's another brother from another mother of mine from the morning meetup. And I could tell you, he is like a ball of sunshine every time he comes on the screen. I don't know how he keeps his energy so up, but maybe that's one of the laws of abundance. He's about to tell us all about it. Let's welcome to the stage our dear friend George, Mr. Highlight Films.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey.
George.
Bam.
Yeah.
That was such a great introduction. I got to come on there with a big old smile. I could not get on the screen and be like, that was great.
Uh-huh.
Welcome. Nice to meet
Exactly. Exactly. As I told him, I was like, he's like Mr. Positivity all the time.
you.
At 8 in
Yes.
the morning.
Facts. The
Yes.
early bird get the worm.
hmm
Yes, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, um, I have to ask you about the 8 keys of
hmm
abundance. I know it's a book that you wrote, but I was wondering, give us a little backstory. There you go. Give us a little backstory on what got you to write this book and what got you on the subject of abundance. What was happening in your
Mm,
life before the book?
everything.
Okay. And then
Everything.
some, and
Coming
then
from,
some.
oh man, just I think the book actually helped me to understand the keys to abundance. And I had my High Life brand for a long time. So High Life stands for Hustler, Innovator, Gifted, and Honorable. And it's for those who are high on love, high on impact, high on faith, and high on energy. So
Wow.
it took me a long time to think of that. In my thoughts, I read a lot of books, and the main subject of everything I read was about mindset and just knowing that we have abundance around us as we as is. Like just by waking up, you're abundantly blessed. So it just I think it was, I don't know if it was David Shands or if it was Ash Cash, and just hang around people that they pushed us, like just even being on a podcast, like creating our own podcast. I have my own platform as well. And just being around mentors that just push us to just stretch, you know what I mean, and go outside of the norm. My norm, coming from the hood, Jacksonville, Florida, like it wasn't much abundance. If you just look around, it was the hood. It was just drugs, just negativity, killings, and all that stuff. And I came up in that, so it made me appreciate. Once I started reading and getting around people that that are doing positive things, it made me appreciate it because I know where I came from, and just the abundant mindset. High Life is pretty much an abundance mindset. Just knowing that everything that we need is already within us. You just got to tap in. So yeah.
So, like you said, you came up from, sounds like they say, the rough streets of Jacksonville,
Woo-woo.
and you began to study and read. What led you to this whole thing about wanting to study and read? Because a lot of times I find a lot of people, like if they say, "Hey, I came up from in a rough neighborhood," doesn't look like reading is like at the top of the list of things to do. It's like very hard to get people to read outside of maybe school.
hmm
So what led you to, like you said, you started reading a lot, reading on mindset? Well, like what led you to that?
So I have a background. My mom was a history teacher, so
Oh.
that was already embedded in me to some extent. She passed away when I was 12 from brain cancer, and I kind of like shied away from. I was in the sixth grade studying Latin. My mom had me on. She had me on point, and so the reading part, reading the encyclopedia, Like she was really like a stickler about schooling, and so that was already like embedded in me. And then my mom passed, and then I kind of like went off not astray, but wasn't really focused on reading like that. Went to high school. My grandmother raised me, so just hanging around my grandmother. We went. I still wasn't reading, but then I went to college. Then my great grandmother passed, and then I dropped out of school. Then I ended up going, hanging out in the streets, and that street life. And then I had my first daughter. And when I had my first daughter, it was a big mindset shift for me. I knew it wasn't all about me anymore, so I knew I had to, get my act together. And then once I did that, and once I realized that, I just started back reading again. Like I I think the first book I read was, I think it was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And once I read that book, it got me back into the mindset of like, I need to read more books. Just and go. I don't want to. I just want to just. I'm a seeker of knowledge, and I know that if they want to hide something from you, they're gonna put it in the book. So I'm gonna go look in these books and see what they hide. And just that little. My mom, she did such a great job at instilling that in me that years passed, I was able to come back to it, and now it's like you can't. I go anywhere. I got a book. If I get my book bag right now, look, here we go. Boom. Exhibit A. I got my book bag right here that I travel with. It's full of books. I got The Alchemist, we just read. I got Latin, learning Latin right now. And this is like literally, where's my other favorite book? I'm gonna show you one of my favorite. Oh, here you go. Oh, here you go. This is a good one, y'all. The Improvement of the Mind. Oh my God.
Wow.
Woo! So it's like, I just engulf myself and I just surround myself, and I've learned from reading books that, like different kings that came from back in the day, they always traveled with a library. They were very smart. So, I'm like, success leave clues, and I'm gonna pick them up and I'm gonna take it and run, So I'm definitely a seeker of knowledge. I'm definitely the one to do my due diligence, go look for the answers that I'm seeking, and if it's in the book, I'm gonna go read it. I'm gonna sit my butt down. I'm gonna read this book. I'm gonna get this knowledge. And some books, I can't even say that I read the whole book. I use them once I've read. Well, I say I'm gonna take that back. Once I read a book, I use it more like a textbook. I
Mm.
use it more like, I don't have to reread it all over. I know exactly what, if I'm pondering something, I know exactly where to go to. Oh, that book says something about that. Let me go look in this book, and I'll find what I'm looking for, and then I'll get that, and then once I find it, either I put it down or I just keep reading more, and then I get more knowledge, more knowledge. So it's like I overkill it sometimes, but I just love knowledge so much, and I just know that it's like the key to success is sitting my butt down reading these books and getting this knowledge.
Okay, so you said your daughter was born. You were running the streets. You was out on them streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter was born. What was it about your daughter's birth that changed, that flipped that switch for you?
I had a whole little human being that depended on me.
Okay. So
Like
time to
something
be
looking up at me,
responsible.
and I'm the only thing that she has. I can't be out in the streets and taking these chances on what they call penitentiary chances for a little bit
Hmm.
of money, and then I get locked up, and then now my daughter's raised by whoever, and then also um she taught. I just, it was just like, I don't know. It just felt like the right thing to do. It was like, okay, this is it. It was
Okay.
like a sign, an omen. We talked about the
Hmm.
alchemist. It was an
Yeah.
omen that said, hey,
Hmm.
this is your time. I gave you your chance to out there have fun. Now it's time to get the business and do the things that are the right things to do to be a good father. That's all I ever wanted to be, was a good father. So yeah,
That
she
that
definitely
is
changed my mindset.
she changed your mindset. So from your daughter being born, that switch that just said, "Hey, this is important." You just kind of felt it internally,
Mm-hmm.
felt it in your spirit
Mm-hmm.
that you had to change, and then you started studying mindset. It
Yes.
sounds like
Yes.
really understanding how that. So what's the thing that really stood out to you when you studied mindset? Like what were the things you took away?
Hmm. Good question. So, I mean, mindset was just, I've noticed that anytime I'm going to taking a course or a mastermind or anything. Like I'm a photographer, videographer. So anytime I go to something, the first thing they talk about is mindset. I go do real estate. The first thing they want to teach you is mindset. So I'm like, well, hey, let me go get a head start. And because mindset, without that, you can have all the tools, you can have all the tool sets and the skill sets, but if you don't got the right mindset, you just gonna be out here just uh I call it winging it. You're out here winging it. So I definitely got into that, and it definitely, it changed my mindset. Like I wasn't looking at life like lack no more. I was looking at like abundance, and that's why I had the idea of even the high life. Like some people will look at high life and they be like, that's getting high, you getting drugs, and I love it now when somebody asks me what high life mean, and then when I tell them, they be
Hmm.
like, oh, really? Oh, okay, okay. So it's even
That
a
is really
conversation to
serious.
have, and that lets me know if we're on even on the same level. If I can even have a conversation with you, so
Well, you definitely got to send me the acronym because I'm definitely going to put that in the title of this
got you.
video because that's an amazing acronym for highlight. So you change your mindset and you switched it. You said from lack to abundance.
Hmm.
So would you say when the whole street scene was this mindset of lack
I think so
versus
because when you're out in the streets, you like I got to get mine. This is it's like it's not enough out here for all of us. I got to get mine. And by any means necessary, do what gotta do to make it happen.
okay.
But when you living a life of abundance, it's like it's enough out here for you, me, us, and some. And
Mm-hmm.
also another thing that happened to me, I had another daughter, Asia Sinai, and she was born with cerebral palsy, and I ended up getting custody of both of my daughters. Their mom passed, so I ended up getting custody of my daughter. And one thing about my daughter, she taught me. That's why I smile all the time. That's why I'm always in a good mood, positivity, because she always had a smile on her face. Like knowing all the pain she was going through, cerebral palsy. I know it's not the you can't move like you want to move. You can't speak like you want to speak. You can't communicate like you want to communicate. I could just imagine how that would feel. And she always had a smile on her face. Even she crying, it kind of creeped me out a little bit. She'd be like crying and be like, always smiling. So that's what like helped me with my mindset. Like life is short, man. So you gotta life is short, but life is long if you know how to use it. If you know how to just take every opportunity, every chance, even I mean, good, bad. It don't even matter if something bad happened to me. I look at it like a lesson. I don't look at it like, oh, I lost. I look at it like it's a lesson now. Like, what did I learn? What was the lesson in it? What did I gain from that? Even losing my daughter, I looked at what did I learn? I learned that I'm a good father. I did the best I could do. Do your best. 4 agreements. Do your best. It's one of the agreements. You know what I mean? And I know I did my best. That was like one of the
Mm.
hardest things to ever go through as a parent. Losing your child at 6 years old to something
Oh.
that you can't control. And once again, the next day I was working. The next day, like literally, somebody hit me up and like, I'm sorry for your loss. I saw your daughter passed. I just wanted to say, we were going to call you to see if you want to do a commercial, but I just seen you lost your daughter, so I just sent him my condolences. I'm like, sign me up. What are we doing? Because
Mm-hmm.
one thing I learned too, also, um, when you're going through something, the world may stop for you, as in your bubble, your world. But the world on the outside, that thing keep on going. Like there's no stopping. Like the first couple of days, you get all the when you lose someone, you get all the empathy and the sympathy and oh my God, oh I can't believe it. I'm so sorry for you. Boom boom boom. A week go by, you get a couple phone calls from your loved one checking on you, see how you're doing. A month go by, just your real close friend call you, see how you're doing. 3, 4, 5, 6 months go by, it's back to you and you. And and I've learned, that was like one of the things that really changed my life. Like besides my daughter being born, the first one, to losing my second daughter, like that really changed my paradigm, like the way I look at life. Like I love that I learned one of the gifts that I gained from losing my daughter was I learned empathy. I learned, compassion. I learned, what it feels like to lose a child. Like I can literally talk to someone now that has lost a loved one, and not only can I say I understand where you're coming from, I really truly understand because I've been there. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, you know, and that was something that I feel like it's a superpower for me now. Like empathy, like I understand. I feel your pain. I'm a Pisces, so I'm very you know, I'm go off of vibration, like the energy. I'm high on energy, so if you're on bad energy, I used back in the day I used to match energy, but now it's like I set the temperature now. If you're around me, if it ain't positive, I can't even really talk to you. I can't even my mind, my the way I speak now, my word, like words have power, so I can't say that. I don't in my house. Try is a cuss word. If we say try, they be like, "Ooh, you in trouble." So it just I set the temperature, I set the standard, and I just my kids look up to me, and I just gotta set a good example for
Hmm.
these little like this world is crazy. So if I could just help them, give them a little head start to let them know, you gotta have empathy, but like you have to be alert. You have to know if someone's trying to play you. You gotta know if they really have your true intentions. I let them know F.O.E. family over everything. Like it's just a lot
Hmm.
of little stuff. Put some respect on your mind is my favorite saying that we talk about in this house all the time. Please don't forget to put some respect on your mind. Like anytime they get out of line, hey man, you
Hmm.
gotta put some respect on your mind, son. You ain't doing it right. You tripping.
Yeah, that
So
that is some really good lessons to teach your children.
yeah.
Because, like one thing that I do find, it's very, very rare to find people that have empathy. And I think it's even rarer to find a lot of men who have empathy. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a very rare quality you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have empathy and you start thinking about something like teaching people to have this mindset, especially when you say this abundance mindset or the high life mindset, how I could definitely see how that energy, because I work in the world of energy,
Mm-hmm.
and I could definitely see how that energy would be contagious
Mm-hmm.
to people around you. So you may not even have to say a whole lot because, people don't realize how in tune they are, that they could pick up the energy of someone. So like I always feel it through the screen. I'm like, this guy's super positive. He's like really this ball of sunshine first thing in the morning. But like you
Yeah.
said, this empathy and this abundance, this mindset that you live in have changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it impacting the other people's lives around you? Because you seem like
Right.
a man of impact, and that's part of your acronym for high life is there's impact there. So how have you done that?
Oh man, like you just said, like I lead by example. I'm not gonna preach it and screaming at the mountaintops. And if I'm not doing it, like if I'm not practicing what I preach, like it be some days where you look up that bank account ain't bank account like it's supposed to be, and you feel a certain type of way, but you have to know like I was listening to I was in Indianapolis the other week, and I was shooting an event, and Myron Golden was speaking there, and he said, you know, when you're a seed, he used the example of a seed, like a mango seed. You don't have to talk it and say, "Oh, you're going to be a mango tree one day, and you're going to be great. You're going to give shelter. You're going to give, a home for, you're going to have shade. You're going to do all this stuff." A mango seed, like, I'm just a mango seed. You don't have to, So just knowing that you're already that mango tree, you just got to go through the whole journey, the whole process of going down in the ground, getting buried, germinating, rooting yourself, and then growing to become a big old mango tree. But at the whole time, you've been a mango tree the whole time. So, just the impact. I do my best. One thing I learned, I just want to leave the world a little bit better than when I came. It was one way when I got here. When I leave, I want to be a little bit better. It might not be nothing but 1-2% better than it was when I got, but I know it was a little bit better. So, you know, anyone I'm ever around is always positivity. As far as like my kids, I'm always speaking life into them. I'm never talking down to them. Even they do some crazy stuff, I still, hey, put some respect on your mind. All right, I just, my daughter, she's a teenager right now, and she's going through the times of picking her friends and getting let down by some friends, and I just have to teach her. I just always put out like life is it's a journey. You gotta enjoy it. Like this is literally you only get one. So you write our imagination. You write. You're writing a book pretty much of your life while you're living it. If you're gonna write a book, why not write a good one? Why not let it be a book of abundance, a book of you did your best, a book of I was always positive, I was always friendly. Yeah, I got tried a couple times. Yeah, some people did me wrong. That's on them. That has nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do with me. That's their mindset and how they raise and how they see people. I always teach my kids, hey, no matter what, you always put out that good foot, that positive foot. And whatever people give you back in return, that's on them. Just do you.
Yeah.
Don't let somebody else, oh, they did me wrong, so now I'm going to do them wrong. No, that's not, I've done that. And that didn't work out good. And, I'm not the type to be mad at somebody forever. I'm over here frustrated. They over there drinking cocktails and living their best life, not even worried about me. That's like getting cut off in traffic and you cussing them out, and now you going to work and telling them, "Oh, I got cut off." No, people is gone. They don't even know they cut
Mm-hmm.
you off sometimes. So it's like, I just feel, yeah, you know,
I definitely hear you because wow, you really said a lot there. And so I see the different ways, like you said, your impact in the world. I know you read a lot.
mm-hmm,
You got that from your mom being,
yep.
teaching and education and all of those things. You've
Read with my
imparted
kids as
that to your
well.
kids.
Mm-hmm,
You make sure that they read and they do
mm-hmm.
all of these things, which is really good because it turns them into thinkers. That's one of the things that I find with a
Ooh,
lot of people these days. They're not thinkers. They
you
don't.
gave me chills right there, because that's what I be. Oh, girl, that's what I be telling my kids. I be like, y'all got to be thinkers around here. I can't do all the thinking. I need y'all to think.
Yeah.
That's my biggest argument. Like, you can teach your kids so many things, but once you're gone, it's like they on their own. So you're gonna have to use common sense. You're gonna have to use common sense ain't too common. So you got to find it. You got to, use your brain. Become a logical thinker. Think outside the box. Look,
Mhm.
listen more than you talk. Like you got
It's
2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. Like listen
it,
empathetically. Like hear what people are saying.
what you're saying, I would definitely say is by design. Like I really feel that a lot of what you're saying is societally designed that way.
Mm,
I remember going to school, like I went to school in the 70s in New York, and part of our curriculum was critical thinking and deductive reasoning.
mm,
So we had to read history, world history. All the history wasn't complete until I got to college. I got mad. I was like, how come I didn't know all this stuff about African history? I didn't find that stuff out till I went to college, and the pyramids and Egypt and black
mm,
people, and that was eliminated. That was not included in the history that I was reading throughout school.
mm-hmm,
But the emphasis was on reading comprehension with critical thinking. So you just didn't read anything at face value, and you asked questions about it. So I remember when my kids, we were living in North Carolina at the time, and I think one was in first or second grade, the other one I think was in fourth grade. And I'm thinking, okay, fourth grade, she's reading about the Magna Carta, she's reading world history, like, because that's the stuff that we read in New York. I just assumed that they were going to read this. No, they only read the history of North Carolina. That was it. I was
mm-mm,
like, you don't get American history? No. You don't get world history? No. You don't get Greek and none of, no, no, we don't get any of that. We get the history of North Carolina.
mm-hmm,
That's it. And there was no, and it was all route memory. They had to study for an exam. So everything became this, you just had to memorize and learn for an exam.
mm,
So all critical thinking and all of those things looked like it went out the window. And, so that's why I said sometimes this is by design because I don't really think, and, I'm not getting conspiracy theory here, but I
Oh,
don't
I
really
like
think
that
that
now. You talking my
people
language.
that are in power want thinkers.
At all.
That's because thinkers could be dangerous.
Very.
So I really think that it's by design now because it's amazing. Because when like I would make an argument about something, and I say, "Well, what about this thing here?" And then people will look at me like deer in the headlights, and I'm like,
Isn't it
"You
true
never
that they
thought
created?
about that?"
Isn't it true that
Go
they
ahead.
created high school just because they had too many kids out of school and they wanted to make them workers and something like that? I heard. It
Well,
was
well,
like,
the educational system was actually designed to make you a good worker. So you either worked in the factories. The reason why we have those set of months, like you're off during the summer, like during the season when you're going to plant or harvest before you go back to school. So a lot of it was designed
mm,
around industry.
mm-hmm,
So when the industrial revolution came along, you needed people that maybe could do the books and do, so it was like you're trained to do specific tasks.
mm-hmm,
I think, and I know it's regional because I know that was very much in the South. You were either trained to work on a farm or trained to work in a factory in the Midwest. So I'm sure the education was different. New York being such a cosmopolitan city, it was very international because you had all the ports and
mm-hmm,
everybody coming from everywhere. There was like a lot of intellectual stimulation going on in New York. So it was like arts and culture, and like you had
mm-hmm,
all of that stuff going on. So I think maybe that's why I had such a different educational experience because I didn't have a private school experience. I just
mm,
had a different educational experience because um, I went to like a high school that was, I think nowadays they call it magnet schools.
mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they used to call them specialized high school.
That's
So
what
I
I
went
went
to a
to a
special,
matinee elementary school.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
now they call it specialized back in the day when I went, and you have to take an exam to get into that school.
Mm,
So I passed the exam, got into the school, and it was a engineering school. It was like math and engineering, which I
mm-hmm. My favorite
hated.
subject. I love
I
math.
hated it. Oh, you know what? I read the curriculum. Okay, this is how I saw all this stuff that said drawing,
Mm-hmm.
drawing. So I said, wow, this is a lot of drawing classes. And I was like, oh, I'm going to learn to draw,
I'm gonna
because
draw
I
some
like to draw.
screws.
Yeah, that's what we drew was screws and threads. And I'm like, oh, this is like the most important. And how to make a staircase.
That's funny because I went to high school, a technical high school in Tampa,
Technical.
and I was taking up drafting. And
They call
my
it
freshman
drafting.
year, that's what we were doing, drawing screw. I think we finna draw houses
Drawing the
and big old
threads. Yeah, I thought we were going to draw people and portraits. And I was like,
got him.
what the hell is this? And you had the big bag with the T square in it. Did you have to have that?
Mm-hmm. And on the table with the
The
long thing.
big
Yep, yep.
gigantic bag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Luckily, I
the
played
big pieces
football,
of
so I didn't get
paper.
bullied.
Oh my God, the big pieces of paper.
Yep, yep. All that. Yep.
Oh Lord, that's funny. You're the first person that I could tell that story to, and you know exactly what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about. I don't know why they call it drawing because it was drafting.
Oh
You
my
got in the
God.
classroom, they call it drafting, but on the curriculum it said drawing. So I
Gotcha.
thought I was going to draw stuff.
They were like, we're gonna put drawing, so they don't know what drafting is. We're gonna put drawing. That's gonna reel them right on in. Got him.
I was so happy that first day of drawing class till I saw,
Ah.
okay, make the treads on this screw. I was like, treads on a screw? Why are we doing
They got to be
this?
perfectly eighth
Yes.
of an inch, and the I remember one thing I did learn good in drafting was how to write my letters. Like how you had to
Hmm.
be perfectly written. Like you couldn't.
Yes.
Oh, that was like one of my that helped me with my handwriting for sure, for sure. Cause my
And,
handwriting was terrible.
And you know what I learned, like I could eyeball something. I used to be so good I could go down to the 1/16th of an inch measurement. Like
Ooh.
like you have to do a 16 and the bird's eye view on a building and all that,
Mm.
and this thing is, a 1/32 of an inch. And I was able to
The,
like, yeah,
the
that one's
thickness
about
of
a
the
one
wall.
thirty second. Exactly. So I had to do all that. It was so crazy. I hated that stuff. I was like, this is not I was a very artsy person.
Mm.
So being artsy, I went to go to the performing arts high school and I missed the deadline because my guidance counselor told me, what did she say? She said the auditions were in April. I had my audition set to go there. And then she says, oops, I'm sorry, the auditions were in January. So I missed my audition
Wow.
window.
Oops,
And
sorry.
then,
Really?
oops, exactly, that's how she was. Oops, sorry. And so she said, well, you could take the test for this school. So I wound up taking the exam and I got into that one. So
Mm.
that's how I wound up going to that school. But I was thinking drawing. Okay, well, I'll draw. I can't do theater
Mm. See
arts, so
how them
I'll
teachers
draw
get you?
instead.
Them teachers will get you. She
That
trying to
was
cover
so
up her
funny.
mess up and got you
Yeah,
in the
that
whole
was
drafting
too funny. The
class.
guidance counselor. Oh, I was really ticked off at her for a minute. But like I said, I don't see, like I always said, I wonder how this is ever gonna serve me. But when I became an acupuncturist,
Mm.
all that measurements, because you have to measure points. Like, okay,
Mm.
this point is located 0.09 inches from this other point, and I was able to like look at it and say, yeah,
Mm.
it's about in this area. Because I knew
Mm.
how to. I could tell you
Wow.
what an inch looked like. I could tell you how a
Okay.
half an inch should look. So somebody said, you're very precise with your point work, and I was like, and they said, how did you? I said, I went to this high school and we had to do all these crazy measurements.
But look at that
It
though, how
served.
that's just that was your critical thinking right there. You went to high school to learn one thing, you're doing another thing, you're just applying what you learned from one thing. I tell my kids all the time, they
Hmm.
be like, why do we gotta learn algebra? I'm like, girl, just one day you're gonna need it. You're gonna want to
Yes.
know why this is this, and all you got is these two things to show you, oh, what's x plus y equals z, but you only got z. Oh, that means one you got to figure out these two. Like, it's just
Hmm.
being able to apply something from something totally different. And like right now, I do 3D scans
Hmm.
for real estate, and that was like, oh, it was to my. So I wanted to be an architect growing up, and so math was my
Okay.
favorite subject, and doing all this measurements and going through drafting, I was right up my alley. But once I seen how long you had to be in school, I was like, forget that. 12 years of schooling, like,
Hmm.
and then you continually got to learn. I was like,
And you
that ain't for
start
me.
way at the bottom.
Yeah. And then so I went way away from that. Then I picked up a camera, and I would never think I would get back into real estate. I ended up getting back into real estate, started doing that. As far as like, I was doing wholesaling and, fix and flips and stuff like that. But I still had my photography, that was my main thing. And when COVID hit, there was no I wasn't doing no more live events. I was shooting concerts and stuff like that. So when COVID hit, I had to flip it to, oh, they got this thing called a 3D camera, and you can scan the whole house, and then people can do virtual tours. I was like, well, people don't like people in their house, so let me get this camera and I'll be the one to go in the house. And it kind of like, I'll look at it and it looks just like those drafting tables that I like to draw on. You know what I mean? It's like the exact same
Wow.
thing. The measurement, like you with the acupuncture, I'm like, oh, that's okay. That's supposed to be right there. Oh, that's not right. Let me redo that one because that one ain't right. Or I got to mark off the windows. I got to mark off the mirrors and stuff like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's just me using what I priorly knew and bringing it to
Yeah.
something to the new age. So that
And and
critical
every
thinking.
and everything could be applied to something else. That's why when you said like you only have y and you have to solve for x, or and I find that when someone, whether I'm interviewing a patient or I'm talking to someone, if they're missing one of the X's or the Y's and whatever they're telling me, I'm like, hold on, you just said all of this, but there's a piece missing because it's not adding
Mm-hmm.
up correctly. And it was like you have to have a balance on both sides of the equation. Like
Mm-hmm.
this side got to equal this side. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the equal sign
And
means.
that's what
So
brings it
yeah,
out for you. Like you have to go looking for that. Like they don't even know that it's missing. You have to put the pieces together, and that's what makes
exactly.
that makes you more valuable. So now
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my part. I used to tell her that when I used to work a regular job, I used to go in that thing. I wanted to learn how to do everybody's job in there. So when it comes time for them to let people go, I'm the last person to get let go because they're like, well, this dude, well, okay, we finna shut down this portion of the warehouse, but you know how to do this over here. Go on over here and do that. Oh, yep, gotcha. Let's go. I've been doing that too,
Mm-hmm.
So make yourself valuable. Like learning all this
Job
stuff,
security.
reading books is job security. If you do want to go do a 9 to 5, I believe that just pouring into yourself. I'm a seeker of knowledge. I go looking. Like they would have, if I would have been in North Carolina and they said, all you need to know is North Carolina history. I would have took it upon myself to go find the world history, the American history, everything else, and see how it tied into North Carolina history. So that's just me
Mm-hmm.
being extra. That's just me wanting to know. But wanting to know is something that everybody don't have. You got some people to be like, oh, it is what it is. That's what they say a lot. Whatever they tell you, that's what it is. I'm gonna leave it at that. Boom, I'm done. As long as it don't
Well,
mess up my way of life.
well, I think that we're trained to have a what I just call it intellectual laziness. I
Mm,
think we're just trained to be that way. Um, there was a book that I read in high school. One of my favorite books. We read some really good books. Catherine the Rye, The Thing with the Hamburger by Kurt Vonnegut. But the book that I really liked was called A Brave New World. I don't know
what
if
was it
you've ever
called?
read that, but A Brave New World.
Okay, let me put that in my
And yeah,
notes.
then put that on your note. This book is amazing, this Brave New World. And he talked about cloning.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about virtual reality, called people didn't go to the movies, they went to the feelies. He talked about instead of having babies anymore, people would have artificial insemination so that they call it a hatchery where you got cloned if you got
And how old
pregnant.
is this
And
book?
this book was written in 1925. Yes. Because I thought when we were reading it in high school, this is in the 70s, I thought the book was just written. And then it blew my mind that this book was written in 1925. But it's
Mm,
something along the lines of like 1984, like a kind of dystopian future. But he projected like all the things that he predicted in this book actually happened.
that's scary.
So it was such an interesting book. But the whole premise of the book was they called it soma. So like to put you to sleep, because soma just means to sleep. So the whole thing about the society was to keep you entertained and put you to sleep. That was what
Wow.
the Brave New World was about. And then anybody that woke up and started doing anything different, so the people were like hiding and running because they were looking for them because they had to put them back to sleep.
Mm. Yeah, I'm
So
getting
it's
that.
called A Brave New World. It was a really interesting. I was like, oh my God,
I'm
this
getting
is
that.
this is crazy. Yeah, and it was they found the way to keep people's mind to control your mind was through entertainment. It
Drifting.
wasn't yeah, it wasn't to control your mind through like being coercive or being
Yeah.
harsh. You controlled somebody's mind by keeping them continually entertained.
That reminds me of
Yeah.
my second favorite book, Outwitting the Devil. And you talking about
Mm-hmm.
how the devil only has control over you if you're drifting. Like you're not.
Yeah.
So that's just drifting. Like finding something. Oh, look at this over here. There you go. All
Yeah.
right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Bills,
Just stay
bills, don't
right
forget
there.
bills.
Keep
Okay, don't
sleeping.
forget.
Keep sleeping. Yeah, just keep sleeping. We're good. Just keep sleeping.
Wow,
Yeah.
Soma. Wow, I'm getting that book. I'm finna put that on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. The Brave New World. That was it. Adolf Huxley was his name.
Okay,
Adolf Huxley.
thank
Yeah,
you.
it was an interesting book, and like I said, this was in the 70s. I read that book, and a lot of the things, like the social media, the continually streaming, the continuous news broadcasting, it's like what he described
Mm.
because you
I don't
didn't
even
have
call it
that.
news. You call it bad. I just call it bad news. I don't call it news no more. You just call it bad news.
Yeah, yeah, but it was to keep people on this certain level that they never woke up from that stuff.
Mm.
And then that's why I said I always felt like not having critical thinking allowed that to happen much with more ease.
Mm-hmm.
That
And yeah, I
that
mean,
was the
you only, if your parents only know so much, they can only teach you so much. If they've been asleep, how they gonna wake you up if they've been asleep and the people before
hmm
them were asleep and the people before them were asleep? How somebody got to
they
wake up.
can't.
Somebody got to
hmm
wake up. And it's so cool how like my girl, she's a insurance. She does life insurance, and she's the one in her family that brought up life insurance. Like nobody before her was thinking, that was not a
hmm
topic of discussion. That was not, a thing that we talk about. But now it's like she's the one in their family. Why now everybody getting life insurance policies. Everybody learning about infinite banking. Everybody learning about, being able to invest using your life insurance while you're living, and all that great stuff. But it had to be someone. It got to be someone in your family that just wake up. How you say they
You
gotta
got to
wake up,
wake up.
and then they
You
wake up
got
the
to
rest of
wake
the family,
up.
and the rest of the
And
family
and
has to be humble enough to listen to that person. So
mhm.
it's, oh,
Yeah, because the thing that I also do notice is that if you bring up change that people aren't used to, you get ostracized for it.
resistant.
So for being that first person, because me doing acupuncture at 19, 20 years old, people just thought I was a nut.
Mm.
We talking 1980s here. So people thought I was a nut. People didn't know what acupuncture was back then.
You try to
Most people
stab
didn't
me?
know. Yeah, like why is this some kind of voodoo stuff? You're sticking needles into
Oh,
people? Like, yeah, I got that. That was a normal one. And then the fact that
wow.
you're a black person from Jamaica, you doing
Oh,
some kind of
oh, and you poke. Oh,
you
they gonna
poking
put it on
needles
you.
into people.
Wow.
Somebody said, "Don't y'all use a doll for that?" It's like, yeah, so it's just when you introduce, so I'm so used to being the one to introduce something that most people aren't aware of.
Mm.
That has been basically the story of my life. So now I'm used to it,
That's what I was just about
four
to say.
decades later.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
gotta just when you're the one, you gotta be okay with people not understanding. Like God gave you that vision, He ain't give it to them. Like you the
hmm
one that said, okay, enough is enough. Like me reading Meet Your Straw Man is another good book. Like it talks about how the government, how the United States isn't a government, it's an entity. Like it's not a country anymore, it's an entity. And like if I talk about this to someone, they gonna look at me like, man, you tripping. Like that's conspiracy and but it's
No,
actual
but that's
facts,
actually history. Yeah, facts and history.
and just me knowing that I gotta be okay knowing that people gonna look at me kind of crazy. Like it gotta be, you have to be what's the word? You gotta have equanimity. You gotta be
hmm
cool no matter you getting. That's why I love Martin Luther King. I noticed how he just always was cool, calm, collected. No matter if he in the middle of a riot, he still
hmm
just you know just debonair. Just it's just the mindset is like knowing that these people hate my guts, but they want to do business with me because they know I got a voice over here that I can talk to these people and make them move a certain way. But for me to make them move a certain way, they got to talk to me a certain way. And it's just knowing that. And then my people that I'm talking for or speaking for, they looking at me like, oh man, you switching out. You're not being the one. So you got to be cool knowing that it's okay to for change, to bring change up, to be woken, get woke up. Like it's okay. It's not the coolest, I used to say, I ain't gonna cuss on here, but I just say F the cool, I'm uncool. I like to be different. I like to be cut from a different cloth. I like different is my favorite. I love being different. I've never been the one to be in no gang. I've never been the one to be. I ain't even want to be in a fraternity, a sorority, nothing. I don't want to be nothing where there's a whole bunch of people doing the same thing. I want to be the one that one going this way, the black sheep. That's me. I'll go. I'm okay with it. I'm not. I used to be like, oh, why is it? But now, being older and going through life, I'm like, man, I'm okay being alone. I'm okay
Yeah.
if you look at me weird because I'm always positive. Oh man, you always positive. Yeah, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
So you're right. Like my favorite word was unique.
Mm.
I'm unique.
Hmm.
I'll dress unique, I'll do things unique, and I'm okay
You
being
definitely
unique.
are. You definitely are. In a good way. In a good way.
Oh, I'm just laughing. You are unique.
You a whole vibe. You a
She's
whole vibe. Like,
special.
I could tell from the first time we met. It was. I think we of course we met on the morning meetup, but we had I think we
The
were
bowling alley.
at the bowling alley. And I was like, as soon
Hmm.
as see, I'm getting chills because
Yeah.
whenever I have a good time or I get good vibes from somebody, I get chills. And I remember that. I even told my girl, I was like, she was like, "Who are you doing the interview with?" And I was like, "Akia, remember from the bowling alley?" And she was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "You was
Yeah,
like the
she's
first
absolutely
person I
beautiful.
saw when
Hmm.
you were like literally the first person that we saw when there, and it was your energy." And
Hmm.
I was attracted to, like, I like good energy people. People ain't you weren't no fake. You were being yourself. You were cool with yourself, and I was like,
Hmm.
that makes me want to be myself, and
Yeah.
to be my authentic self when I'm around people. That's your uniqueness is what makes you cool to me.
Yeah, it is because it got to the point because I tell people when I'm working with people and I said one of the biggest things that I see that make people ill is lack of self-acceptance.
Mm.
So from when I was a kid, I knew I was different. I knew I read a lot and
Can you
most of the
talk to my
stuff,
daughter real quick? No.
yeah. Yes, I do. Bring her on. So come
Okay.
on in the room.
Woo.
Yeah, yeah, as a kid, I just knew that. It it's not. Like I never thought I was smart. I'll
Mhm.
be honest. I got like a lot of awards, honor rolls, the whole 9 yards. In specialized high school. Like everybody throughout my whole childhood. You're smart. You're smart. You're smart. You're smart. So I heard it and I said, okay, I guess I'm smart. Everybody around me keeps telling me I'm smart, but I never felt smart. I just felt like I could just remember stuff people say to me. I'm a very auditory person, so I listen and I could remember what I was told. So I just
Mhm.
had a good memory. So a
Mm.
lot of times, like I came from Jamaica. I was 6 or 7. I was almost 7 years old. So I was 6 years old. I went into first grade. It was May. They had one more month of school left.
Mm.
So they all thought that, oh, this little kid from Jamaica, she's gonna, have to repeat first grade because, she's only gonna get 1 month of school. So in Jamaica, it's interesting because when you're very small, it's the British system. So they
Mm.
teach you from a very young age, they teach you stuff like how to write, how to, like read certain words, and they teach you arithmetic, which consists of like addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So by the time I got to first grade,
Oh, you like this
it's like,
breeze.
but it wasn't like I really understood those things because I must have been like 5, but
Mhm.
they're still teaching it to you. So I guess the repetition and they keep repeating it, something sinks in.
Mhm.
So I remember in first grade, I'm sitting there in the classroom and the teacher would write on the board, she'd write, see the boy. The boy has a ball. The boy see the dog run. The dog is running with the boy. The dog, so she'd write these phrases on the board. So I'll look at the phrases and look at what she wrote. I'll look down at the little reader that they gave us, and it'll say the same thing. So I'm like, okay. And then when they'll call on me, I'll just repeat. She'll say, okay, you read now. And I'll just repeat what the teacher said. I didn't know how to read. I really
Wow.
didn't even know how to read till I was in third grade. So I got
Wow.
high on just, oh, they just want me to repeat whatever they said.
Wow.
So from the time I was 6, I just realized, oh, I don't, and in Jamaica, that's how they taught you. They used to make you get up and you'd recite things.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, school is just memory and reciting.
That's amazing though, as kids, how we can just soak up
You
stuff
just
that
adapt.
even
Yeah.
adapt. Like even not knowing how to read, you knew how to figure it out enough where you can just slide on through.
Uh,
They'll never know.
yeah, I slid on through and they said, and they thought I was amazing. They're like, wow, she only had 1 month of school and she passed the grade because she knew
Wow.
how to read better than the other kids. And I'm like, I'm not sure why they're having a hard time. They just have to repeat what the lady up there just said.
Wow.
That was pretty much school for me to just remember what somebody told me. And if I repeated it back, I passed the test.
And you came from Jamaica to New York or Jamaica
Yeah,
to
Jamaica to New York.
woo woo.
Yeah, just flew up, got in school about a week or so later, and sat
That's
down there, had
amazing.
3 weeks of school, and went to the next grade. And it wasn't
Wow.
because I was smart. I just remembered what you told me. I
Mm.
mean, I'm like, it's not that. I kept thinking, So my whole impression of school, like, it's not that hard. They just want you to repeat what they just said.
Wow.
That was the whole school. That was the whole school experience. Just repeat what they told you. Not that big a deal.
That goes to show you
I
about our
mean, we
school
sing
system.
songs and repeat things all day long. So why school shouldn't be hard? And like the African griot, they would sing songs, and that's
Mhm.
like because of oral language. And people are like, "Oh, it's oral language. It's like the game of telephone, and people can't remember their history." I said, "No, these guys trained and they learned it like a song. You don't
Mm.
forget a song. You
Yeah,
could
yeah.
repeat all the words of a song 20 years later. You could still repeat the same words." So that's how they were taught. So I was like, this is quite easy. So I never really felt I was smart until I got around really smart people and I realized I ain't all that smart.
Like,
Because
uh-oh.
I met some people who were like brilliant
Mm.
geniuses. And then but they made me interested because now they made me want to study and learn what they learned. Up until then, I just coasted.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm getting all these awards. You know what I did with the awards?
What?
That I got a lot of certificates. They all went in an underwear drawer. Came home. I got another one, mom, and she looked at it like, "That's nice." I just put them in the underwear. I was like, I don't know what to do. It's like a stack of papers because it didn't mean anything. You get what I'm saying? It didn't
Yep.
mean anything because I didn't
Yep.
really do anything for it. I'm repeating stuff back to you. I'm like
Wow.
a parrot.
That's
It's like I was
crazy.
brilliant. I was more of a parrot than anything else. Polly, I was like, Polly wants a cracker. It's
But
like,
actually
that's what you
though,
need me
that
to
was just
say.
your way of learning though. Like you
Yeah,
figured out the system. Okay, this is what they want. Okay, I'm gonna give them what they want. And I mean
exactly.
that's brilliant right there, to be honest with you.
That's why math was a little bit more challenging because you couldn't really repeat math. You
Yeah, and
actually
you
had
gotta
to
show
do
your
math.
work.
Exactly. And I would always be off by one or two numbers. So I
Mm.
was like, oh darn. Yeah,
Start
but
over.
that's yeah, I gotta math you couldn't fub math, but everything else in school you could pretty much just get
Wow.
by. And a lot of kids don't know. I'm like, I used to tell them it's really easy. Just go in there, listen to what they say. But then I realized this: not everybody's an auditory learner. My
Hmm.
advantage is that I'm an auditory learner. So
I need to
people who are
see it.
like yourself, who are visual, like my daughter, she does photography and all that. She's a visual learner.
I need to see
And
it.
and you know what was hilarious? For me and her to communicate is the funniest thing, George, because I'm auditory. So
Can't you see what I'm saying? And you
no,
like
it's not
you
that
ain't
she
hearing the
says
word coming
that.
out my mouth.
Yeah, but it's not even like that. She's sitting there talking to me, and I'll turn my head like this
Mm-hmm.
and put my ear towards because I'm listening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll take my face and turn it to look at her because she's like, she doesn't think I'm listening if I'm not looking at her. And we have this fight where slowly I'm like, I'm looking at her, but then I have to turn my head again and go like
I'm trying to
this.
hear you, girl.
Yeah, I got to hear what you're saying because I'm an auditory learner and she was
Mm.
visual. So, if you're a person that's more tactile or kinesthetic and you got to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So, my advantage was the fact that I was auditory and I had a good memory.
Mm.
So, if that's your strongest sense, then school's easy.
Yeah, yeah,
But if you're not auditory, because everything's a lecture. If you're not auditory, then that doesn't really work for you. So
yeah.
I could see why some others, because I used to wonder why it's not that hard. You just say what they just said.
They be like, I would, because you know what they were doing? Soma.
Yeah. I thought you were asleep because
They were
you're not
asleep.
showing me anything, but you're not showing me. So if you're visual, if you're not showing them anything, they'll zone out
Mm-hmm.
because they've got to see it.
You just gave me because my son zones out a lot. Maybe he need to listen more. I might have to, I don't
Are you
know.
showing him things? Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
find out
you gotta figure
how
out.
he
Yeah,
performs. Yeah, if he performs, if he's like he's got to put his hands on it because some people learn that way. They got to put their hands on it to learn
yeah.
it.
He get
Some people got
distracted.
to see it. Some
He
people got
knows
to
the
see it to
stuff,
learn it.
but once he know it, he just get distracted to
Oh
something else.
no, yeah, I'm
So
like that. I can't repeat something. Once I know what it is, don't tell me again. I was like, it'll make me nervous. It's like it's boring now. I don't want to hear it. Like I
wow,
can't rewatch a movie if I've seen it. I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to look at it again.
what? See, I'll watch it
Yeah,
a
my
couple
kids will like.
times.
Yeah, my kids will
Like
watch
you
a
ain't see
movie
what
till
happened in the
they'll.
beginning though. You missed that part when it's it.
No, yeah, I can't. If I know something, like I read a book, I might, like you said, use it as a reference book because I'm
Hmm.
looking up for a particular passage, but I can't go through and read the whole thing again. Or like
Yeah,
once I know it already, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know the information though. I got what you said. You don't have to keep telling me over and over and over again.
Hmm.
So that's, so I don't need a lot of repetition. So that might be the reason why he's like, got it. Okay, now the next thing.
Hmm. I'm about to
Yeah,
figure
because
that
I
out.
have that problem. Yeah, I have that problem. I couldn't, and I used to feel guilty that I wouldn't study because once
Mm.
you told me and I knew what it was like, okay, it says
Oh,
the
you
same
was
thing you
gifted.
just said. So why am I going to do it again? Yeah.
Akia was gifted, y'all. She was gifted.
I was in one of those classes. I was definitely, well, they didn't have gifted. They would just skip us a year. So I went to
Oh,
college when I was like 16
oh,
because
wow.
they skip you a year.
Hmm.
They don't do the skipping thing anymore, they say. I think you
Mm.
go into a
I think
gifted
they only have like
nowadays.
one grade. Just you could. I think it was like between seventh. I think you could skip eighth
I
grade
didn't do
still.
8th grade. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
do 8th grade at all. I
yeah. I
had
think that's the
7th
grade
and
you
then
could skip
9th.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, but they still skip.
I think so. I think so.
Okay, because I had told people and they said they didn't skip kids anymore in school. So I was like, they said they go into gifted programs.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, they don't. So that's the reason why, I went to college early because I got skipped a year.
Okay.
And my birthday's later in my birthday's near summer, it's in June. So, so I graduate before, so at 17, I'm in college.
Wow. That's
So
a.
but and nobody believed it. They're like, "How are you in college and you're 17? You're not 18 yet?" And I was like, "No, I can't go drink. I can't go do anything.
You the
I'm still
baby.
17. Yeah, I'm still 17.
Wow.
So yeah, I can go certain places in college because my friends would go, and I was like, I'm still 17, and they're like,
They
"You
be like,
can't
oh,
be
you real
17,
smart. You hear you
huh?"
real smart. You probably heard that even more than now. You
Oh yeah, but I didn't think I was smart. I
wow.
mean, now I think I'm smart because I had to, through my profession, I had to figure stuff out and do things and use my own thinking. But
Hmm.
the school thing, I didn't make me feel smart. I was just like, I'm just saying what they
Wow.
just said. Yeah. College was a little bit more challenging because
For sure.
writing was a challenge for me because you had to put your own thoughts. I couldn't
Mm.
just write down what the teacher said in college. You had to,
Yeah, yeah.
put your
College was
own
challenging for
thing.
me because you can make your own schedule and you don't gotta go because you. I got it in my head real quick that we paying them to teach us, and I was like, oh, if that's the case.
I'm not going to show up. Oh my
And then I
goodness.
played football, so it was like the teachers during football season do what you want to do. It was like they just give you the
Oh, okay. They were
grades. I went
easy to you.
I went to a black college, so they just give you the grades as long as you're doing good on that football field. But after that, good luck.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
learned
that
quickly.
that that is really something else. Like we got onto the education, but I really wanted to talk to you about being an author and writing your book,
Hmm.
and how you found abundance impacted your thoughts around money. Because from what you said, I see that you're employed, you have your own business,
Hmm.
you did
Yeah.
real estate, you did film,
Film.
and
I've
you're an
been doing
author, you have a book club.
so I've been doing filming since like 2009. I've been doing. I started out doing music videos. Then I started doing. I had a contract with iHeartRadio, and I started doing shooting all their events. And then I was ended up being like the lead. I had a contract with them actually, where
Hmm.
every time I shot the event, I had to bring my own cameraman with me, like a whole crew and everything. And I did that. And then I got a mentor. I was working a regular job, a 9 to 5, landscaping, but I was still in my passion with photography. And it was this one guy, he was a real estate guru, like he's one of the best in Tampa, Kenny Rushing, and he needed a cameraman. And he just hit me up out the blue one day and asked me if I was interested in working with him. So I took the gig, and I was literally with him probably like 14, 16 hours a day, and
Wow.
he was actually doing it. He never taught me about real estate. He just did it in my face, and he executed in my face. And
Hmm.
by osmosis, I learned it, and I worked for him for about 2.5 years, and then I moved to Jacksonville. And when I moved to Jacksonville, I was like, I'm gonna just do this real estate thing, and I started doing real estate. And my first year wholesaling, we did 6 figures, and I was like, oh, I like this. This is
Mm-hmm.
good. This is better
Nice.
than out here in the sun landscaping. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that. And then like I say, when COVID hit, I started doing more of the 3D scans, and I just wanted to keep my passion going as far as the photography, because I kind of got away from it when I got into real estate, because I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to just be known as the camera guy, and I wanted to be, show that I have, I got a brain and I can do more than just camera. Then when I see you can make some money, just
Mm-hmm.
pretty much selling paper. I was like, oh, this is it right here. And then, but then I ended up getting back to the camera and back to real estate, and I mixed them all together. And I've had my business since officially, since 2009. I've been doing that. I haven't worked for someone since 2015. Um, like I just gambled them. I just bet on myself, and you know, um, I also had a book club. We started about a year ago. Um, I love it. We got over like 200 members now. It's called Higher Learning High Life Book Club, as you can see on the shirt. And I actually started that so I could be held more accountable with reading, which is funny to me now. And like I read every day now, like clockwork. 12 noon, Monday through Friday, we on the read. We reading, even with the morning meetup, we reading every morning. So it's like I got 2 book clubs I'm a part of. One of them I'm facilitating. Um, Being an author was something that I just wanted to. I don't know who I was listening to, and they said having a book is like a card, like a business card, and it's like just letting everyone know what you stand for, like. And High Life is pretty much that's what I stand for, like that's how I live my life. When it comes to abundance, when it comes to anything I do, I will never do it like a low life. I gotta be high life. It gotta be. I'm hustling. I go out there and get it. You don't have to give me nothing. I'll go get it. Innovator. I like to be different. Like I told you before, gifted. I've been told I was gifted from the time I was born, and just all the different things that I've learned. Like I'll tell you, like empathy is one of my biggest gifts that I learned from losing my daughter. Being honorable, I like to, I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm gonna do something, it's done. You ain't got no question about it. You know what I mean? High on love. I love my peoples. I love to love on people. I love to give someone love that probably wasn't expecting to get it from me. Like, seeing homeless people on the streets, I would run a homeless person down to get them some money. Like, it's a whole different vibe with me now. Impact, like I said, just I want to lead the world a little bit better than when I found it. How it was, I want to leave my little 2 cents. I want to say I want to put my little 2 cents in. I want to leave my little 2 cents. So that's why I want Highlight to be a worldwide brand. It's something that I'm working on. I'm actually got the trademark cooking right now. I got Leon, my trademark attorney, is helping me with getting the trademark. There's no one else that had it, so I had to scoop that thing up. I never could even imagine that it would even be available, but it was, and now I'm actually gonna be leaving a greater impact than I could have ever done through a book, through my mindset, through the way I live my life. The F, high on faith. Like if you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything. And I'm a big believer. I don't really. I would say I'm non-denominational. I believe. I just believe in God. I just believe in the higher power. I just believe in that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm confident. That's not for everyone. So I attract the people that feel the same way, but I also repel the people, and I'm okay with that. I love that. And then the E, high on energy, is just I'm always about positivity. I'm always on. I'm always working out. That's why I'm always high energy in the morning, because I'm up 4 in the morning, go work out 5 in the morning, doing hit training, and I'm getting, by the time 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock roll around, people just getting their day started. I'm cooking. We good to go. So just keeping myself busy. My dad used to say something. My dad passed when I was 6, but one thing he used to always say was, if you stay busy, you won't stay broke. And I've just been busy ever since.
That's so interesting. So making High Life a worldwide brand,
Hmm.
how are you going about doing that? Are you like public speaking? Are you like how are
Ooh,
you?
that's the next one. So I'm always speaking life into like kids. Like my son plays football. I used to coach, but this year I'm just the parent. I'm just the cameraman parent,
Mhm.
and it just seems like I'm always have every time I speak to a kid, if it's just I see them down and hard on themselves, or the coach is hard on them, I just pull them to the side like, "Hey man, you believe? I believe in you. You got this." Like it's just natural now for me to speak life into people and to So the public speaking is something that I need to work on. I'm around people that always tell me I got a great story. I'm hanging with the Ash Cashes, the Myron Goldens, the Dr. James Dentley's. They great speakers, and they just heard my story and they're like, man, you need to get up here and you need to speak. And they say public speaking is like the number one fear for everyone, and that's just I've always been behind the camera. Like this, me doing this right here is so not the norm for me. Me having a book club, man, I have to get on this thing every morning. Even when I first started morning meetup, I was so nervous. I was like, why am I nervous? I don't even know these people. Man, I don't care what they care about me. I don't care. But just doing it more and more and more, I feel like that's going to be my next level of talking about this. I just put this book out on my birthday of this year, so it's now that people, it's like the more I put it out, the more I have to believe in myself. The more I'm just like reiterating, like when I go sell my book, I have to tell them what high life mean. I got to tell them a little something out the book might that might help them in their life, and it's just helping me to be a better public speaker. So I know that's something I definitely need to do. But as of right now, I have apparel. I push that social media everywhere I go. It just even if it don't be that, and maybe I just go to. I got offered to go to a prison, and me having my criminal history of hanging out in the streets, and
Mhm.
I was kind of like I don't know about that, but then after I continued to read, and I'm like that's something I have to do because you never know. It might just be one person in there. I might not be the one that changed the world. As Tupac say, I might not be the one that changed the world, but I will spark the mind of the one that will change the world. And that's selfish of me to just hold on to all this knowledge, all these books I'm reading. Like I was a bookworm. When I tell you I will soak up all these books, and you would never know that I read these books until you talk to me. Because I wasn't
Mhm.
out here preaching to go, oh yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm not that type. But if you're around me, you can tell that oh, you might read. You might not even know that. I know a little bit about NLP, but if I ain't tell you, you wouldn't know. I could tell if someone's lying to me or somebody is shooting, trying. I call it remember the truth. you know,
It's a lot of work remembering the truth.
I'm sorry, not remember the truth. Remember the truth is, remembering, but imagining the truth is lying. So
Oh.
there's a difference.
But they have to imagine it and then they got to remember what they imagined.
Yeah, yeah. So if I ask you what you ate last night and you be like, oh, so I had chicken. Okay, now you remembering the truth. But if I ask you what you ate last night, you be like, so yeah, I went to this restaurant and it was oh, you imagining, boy. You putting the story together. So, it just knowing that, for me not to speak. I remember Brand, me and her had a conversation, and I was telling her how when some people get their takeaways of what they read from the book, it'd be the same takeaway that I got. And I was like, well, sometimes she caught me one time. I had my hand raised, but when somebody said something, I just put my hand down. And she was like, no, what you got to say? And she was like, there's somebody that need to hear your voice. And for you to put your hand down is selfish of you. And I was like, dang, you got a point there. And then to even say that, even when we met at the bowling alley, someone told me that it's for me the reason now that they turn their camera on in the morning, because I think I said something about it one day and they were like, you know what? I thought he was talking to me, and I was like, well, dang, I wasn't talking to you, but if the shoe
It
if the
hit.
shoe fit, wear that thing, girl.
It really hit.
Yes,
Wow. That is, thank you so much for sharing your book. So the 8 principles or the 8 keys is
8
based
keys
on
to living wealthy.
highlight
Yes, ma'am.
is based on high life of abundance.
Hmm.
Wow, that's really really amazing. Um, do you have anything that you would like to leave us with before we
Whew.
go? Any pearls of
Um,
wisdom you'd like to share?
I would say my favorite quote, well, one of my favorite quotes is, I learn something from everyone I meet, even if it's what not to do. Abraham Lincoln. And then my second favorite quote is do something today that your future self will thank you for. Like, I'm always thinking about, how can I get better? Like, when I turn 50, I want to look back at I used to be 345 pounds, big old guy. And one day I just started walking. And then the next day I was like, okay, I want to walk. I wanted to walk a mile. So I walked a mile. And then every day I walk a mile. But then I got to a point where I was like, well, shoot, I can walk a little bit, run a little bit, and then walk a little bit. And then it came to a point where I was doing that, and the point where I was running the whole mile, and it was like I want to get done quicker. So I was like, well, if I run more of the distance, I get it done quicker. And I started doing that, and I could find myself now. I can run a mile, no problem. I'm down to 245 now. I done lost over 100. Well, I done lost 100 pounds. Just by taking that first step. So I just implore anyone, do something today that your future self will thank you for. Pick up that book. You might what you don't know now, it's right around the corner from you. Like, all you gotta do is just believe in yourself. Put it all on you. Like, it's okay if you mess up. It's okay. Like, that's life. Life be life, but God be God. And if you just believe that, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna look up one day, and you're gonna be I'm not where I used to hear people say, I'm not where I want to be, but I ain't where I used to be. And that thing hit different now, because I'm definitely not where I used to be. I was If you would have told me I'd be an author, I'd be have a media company, I'd be doing 6 figures in real estate, I'd be like, man, I'm trying to sell these pounds. I'm trying to I'm trying to sell this weed and do all this crazy stuff out here in these streets, doing what I want supposed to be doing, taking these risks. And now look at me now. It's like you couldn't tell if I ain't told you. Because that's the type of person I am. Like, it's never too late for you to do anything. I'm learning Latin now. I started learning Latin when I was in the 6th grade, and then my mom passed, and I stopped. And now I'm 42 years old, and like I showed you, I have this Latin book where I study Latin every day, Duolingo every day. Um, Almost speak not fluently, but I'm getting there. And it's never too late. So do something today. Make a change today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow is definitely not promised. Do it now. Do it right away. Do it hurriedly, because you're gonna look up one day, and for you not to do something for your future self, that's super selfish. Like, you living in the now, you're not thinking about the bigger picture, and it's more to life than just you. It's like there's somebody out there that need to hear your victory story. There's somebody out there that's just waiting on you to show them that it's never too late. It's somebody out there that just need that positivity from you, that you had to go dig down and go in your deep dark place to build yourself up and let you know that you can be this. But if you just do what you got to do today, tomorrow could be so much brighter. So I just implore everyone to do something today that your future self will thank you for. And abundance mindset, no lack here, abundance.
Thank you. That was really beautiful, George. Thank you so much. Like we said, abundance mindset, and pick up a copy of George's book. Where could they get it, George?
www.highlifestateofmind.com.
Okay, and you're going to send that to me so we could put that in the
Yes,
description
ma'am.
box with a
Yes,
link so they could reach out to you and get the book. And
ma'am.
thank you so much for being here.
No
Okay.
problem. It was my pleasure. This was definitely a blessing. It's always good being around you. You a whole vibe. You my girl, man. Like, thank you so
I'm like,
much.
I like that. I am a paradigm shifter and a vibe. I like that. I've never been called that. Thank you. Wow, that was an amazing, amazing episode, George, Mr. High Life. We're definitely going to put his book in the description box. And if you like this content, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back again with another episode. This one was really intriguing with George. And I can't wait to see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good night.